because you guys are talking about some good stuff and I don't want to miss any of it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go and come back because I can't see you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. Can everybody else see me if you want to comment?
I can see you.
Okay, thanks, Philippe.
Yeah, I can see you.
Thank you.
Anyway, you said you would like to ascend and turn your physical body into light to go with you, if I understand correctly. But what interests me, why is it important for you to take physical body along into higher plane?
I think it's all connected, and I don't know that you could separate it even if you wanted to, but that's the only way I can verbalize it because I don't have enough language skills to say what I'm trying to say. This all transforms and it goes, right? I should just say it that way because I don't think there's a separate connection from it. The fascia that runs under your body, I have a body worker that I talk to often, and she's been doing a lot of studies on the fascia. And it's interesting how the fascia actually works and what we're told about it. Let me let Jane back in here real quick. What we're told about it is that it's what holds all the organs and everything in place inside the body. But there's so much more to it than that. The electric effects of the fascia are pretty incredible. So I think that's what I'm trying to dialogue, or what I'm trying to say is I want this thing to transform so I can, and I would love to be one of the ones that can go back and forth and hang out and do whatever, but I haven't quite put it all together yet, obviously. So, all right. Anybody else? Any other questions, thoughts? Anybody? I'm curious, is anybody actually working on their life recap, on your life recapitulation, or using the path of negation? Is anybody playing with that stuff?
I mostly do your heart coherence. I did once path of negation, counting numbers and all that. But as I said to you before, this was quite stressful week for me, so I can't. There are mixed results. On some level, I did sense some things that are new to me. I understand that I work with some energies, but I'm not really sure what am I doing and what goes on. But I am doing it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just kind of trial and error, and it's literally just playing in the, I call it playing in the field. You know, you go play in the field and walk backwards. At the end of the night, one of the things that they say that has been helpful for me for a long time is before you go to sleep, go backwards through your day. And it's not like you're walking backwards through it, but you're just going backwards through events and just noticing, just being aware. And it kind of clears the energy of it so it doesn't have to follow you into the next day. So you can do little short recapitulations like that also, or paths of negation. Okay, if that's all the questions, we are just going to go ahead and get coherent, and then I'll dive into this information that I have here, and then we'll play with some other ideas that I've been messing around with and trying to get more excited about myself. I am not a very excitable person, I have found out in my course of being, so trying to get that kind of emotion welled up inside me is a little bit tough, but that's what I've been working on. I see microphones open. Did y'all have any other questions or thoughts?
I have a question about what I saw the video, and I was curious actually. You said that you went and did a course on, or something you did to try and be happy earlier in your life.
Yes.
But it didn't work out so well, but later it did. So what did you do that didn't work, and what did you do that worked?
Yeah, so what I actually did, it wasn't really a course. I mean, it was a period of time in my life. There was a church down the street from us. We lived in California for a couple of years, And it was kind of, I want to say it was Episcopalian or something. And I don't really know what that means, except it was the kind of church where they would throw their hands in the air and do a lot of yelling at Yahweh and a lot of like exaggerated movements and wailing and just, and I never could do this before. I never could do that stuff before. I grew up in a Christian fundamental something church, is just Bible bangers. And we were literally taught to stand with our hands at our side. And if you got moved, somebody behind you would thump you on the head with one of the books. And it was just like, we just didn't move. I never learned how to lift my hands or how to move or express myself. And my family were huggers. You know, they never said, I love you. It was none of that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, and it was just spirit. I was already doing some of this work, and it was like, just go down there and sit and see where you can fit in. And so I did. And for a long time, I sat in the back, and then I got to watching people. And there was this lady sitting in the front of the church, a Black lady. And there's something different. I don't mean to offend anybody, and I'm not racist. I swear I'm not. There is something different about the Black folks versus the white folks in these settings. Black folks are just like all over it, and white folks are usually standing there trying, right? It's funny to watch. It is funny to watch in America, right? And maybe it was just that church, I don't know. But I got to watching her, and she turned out to be kind of the prayer warrior of the congregation. She would get up and lead the prayers and be all just wailing on, I mean, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy to listen to her. And, you know, I was already doing energy work. So I would sit with people when they would walk up to me and say, oh, this hurts or that. I could put my hands on them and stop their pain. And so I was like, I'm in a church. I guess that's kind of natural. So we'll just do that in here. And of course, it caught attention. So then she came and was like, come and do our prayer stuff with us. And so I started sitting behind her. And every time she went like this, I would go like this. And every time she would just start like she was exercising the energy of that room, literally with her hands, just like, and you could feel the energy just start to move. It was the craziest thing I think I've ever felt. And then I started seeing it. I could see the different colors of the energy drawing in. And, you know, when they were saying the Holy Ghost was coming down and ascending upon the congregation, like it was a different color coming in. And it was just interesting. And it usually was when she would start doing this, that stuff would start happening. And so I started doing that and noticed that I could exercise my own field. Right. So when I go outside and walk, I am always, right, even walking, like with my dog's leash, I have a leash long enough that I can get up over my head and I can move heaven and earth into my system, right, by just doing these different movements. And I've learned different things since then, but that's where it started. So what worked was exercising the field. What worked was, and we're going to talk about that in here, actually, that's exactly where we're going with this. What worked was staying away from people that were naysayers. What worked was recognizing.
Sorry, that was naysayers. You say naysayers.
Naysayers, yeah.
Okay, like negative people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk some about that kind of stuff. What didn't work was getting in my own head and going, okay, that wasn't real. Like, what was it? I got slapped down hard by a few people in the prayer group because I didn't know their rules. And we had some guy came into the prayer room one day, and I forget what his issues were, but I ended up with one hand on his stomach, and I would just go wherever I was guided, and one hand on the top of his head. And this other lady swiped my hand off the top of his head and said, don't ever touch the top of somebody's head. That is not your place to touch. And I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this later. And I had my hand on his stomach, and she literally punched my hand into his stomach. So he felt like he had to lurch. She hit him so hard, but it was my hand that was there. And I caught her later, and I was like, what the heck was that? And she goes, it's all for effect, just to like really seed it into them that they have the power of the Holy Spirit in them.
Oh,
Like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
like you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
punch people in the stomach to, and the crown of the head, if it's blocked, you want it unblocked. Like, you
Yes.
wanna, she didn't understand any of that. She didn't get any of it.
What you were just doing with your hands, you were waving them and you were putting them up in the prayer mode above your head. It's the same. There is something called the Egyptian sun greeting, and they found on the hieroglyphin in the pyramids in Egypt, they found certain exercises which they do for longevity and changing your energy, etc. And what you were doing is a part of what is found on the hieroglyphin on the Egyptian pyramids. And I do that in the lessons, and the people's energy changes. We have this like sequence of movements, and it's a bit like what you just did. And it changes the energy. It really does, you know, and it's like, so, yeah.
I have noticed with people that are very stiff and rigid, their energy is literally not moving. It's just like stagnant. And if you can get in their field and help them move it or teach them how to move it, it's so amazing.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started then. So today what we were going to talk about, actually what I wanted to do was I wanted to do my version of the chakras and lighting those up so you could feel what I was shown at my death, and how to really get some serious energy into those spaces. And then I was given this instead. So we're going to go through this. And it was a young man that was kind of walking through this, and I was taking notes, and I'm like, oh man, you're awesome. And it gave me some different things to contemplate. So I want to give those to you. And then next week we'll do the chakra thing. So this was basically about 3 energies that will harm you, that most people don't recognize the kind of harm that it does, and the depth of harm if you don't manage yourself and move yourself out of those places. So there's 3 energies we're going to go through. And the very first one is complainers. People who like habitually complain about everything. One of the things that I noticed while I was kind of running this through and thinking about it was that most complainers are very quick to complain about everything and very slow to try and change themselves. So when you have a complainer, you've got somebody like that in front of you, their path of change is probably, they're in a place where their consciousness level is wherever it's at, but it's a very slow crawl. And I was going to talk about how you can help them, but we're not going to even go into that right now. It's the realizing, I think, of that the very reality that they're complaining about is a reality that they created. And they're just not seeing that part yet. Complainers typically, the way I've understood this now, work against the laws of the universe. And this is why this energy is so harmful. It not only harms them, but it harms you if you stand there and listen to it long enough, because eventually you start picking up their vibration. You start picking up those frequencies. So think about the laws of the universe. One that comes to mind right off the bat is the as within, so without, as above, so below. Biblically, it was as are on earth as in heaven, or so on earth, so in heaven. I forget the way it's worded, but it means the same thing, that whatever is within you, the vibration that you're residing at, is what you are going to produce outside of you. Whatever is in your earth, right? Whatever, you're pushing it everywhere. You're pushing those vibrations everywhere. And then the understanding that there can be no outer change. So complainers are always trying to change the outer world by doing things from outside of them. They want to change another person. They want to change the thing. We spent years moving from place to place, literally running from ourselves, my husband and I, trying to change something that we were not liking in our outer world. And it followed us everywhere we went till we realized It has to be an interchange. I had to come into that level of peace, and he's still working on it. But you have to find that level of peace inside you in order to change the outer world. If you understand, and I think pretty much everybody in here does, that vibration equals matter. Your vibration equals the physical outside of you. And in order to change one, you have to change the other. Or in order, like if you're changing your vibration, your physical is going to change either direction, right? If you go low in vibration, you're going to manifest it outside of you. If you go high in vibration, or you manage, and you'll find this out next week, to hold the whole overtone of vibration, the whole spectrum in your system, you see changes all around you rather quickly. And it's literally the same idea as cause and effect. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Yeah, that same on earth as it is in heaven. That's exactly what I was talking about. So before anything exists physically, it has to exist vibrationally. That's how you create it. You have to have the vibration set up in your system in order to create anything physically. Complainers go against the very nature of the universe, the laws of the universe, or you could call it, they go against the order of reality. And because of it, they suffer every day, and then they cause other people around them to suffer.
Actually, I think that saying for complainers that they go somewhere is not really correct.
Say it again.
To say for them that they are going or moving is not. On one level, if we take that law of attraction and all that quantum physics and whatnot, they're creating hell for themselves. On the other side, they hate the hell they created for themselves. So they don't do anything but, well, there is not a nice way to say it, they bitch about it.
Yeah.
And that's the program.
Yeah.
But it's very powerless to be such, I guess.
Yeah, it's a shame, actually. But they don't realize they're going against the natural order of things. Right? I mean, if you're complaining, you're literally going against universal code. Because you're creating, and actually, I mean, you are and you're not, you're creating what you're seeing. So you're creating the reality that you're vibrating at. One of the things the guy talked about that I was working with on this was that there's a direct link between mind and reality, which is that vibrational creation idea. And he said there's no separation, right? There is zero separation. What you think, what you say will start to create almost instantly. So when a person starts complaining, you must be aware of what it is that they're indicating. They must be aware what it is they're indicating to the universe. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I was literally trying to count, and for the last probably 3 days now, how many times a day I complain about something. So it's the idea to become very aware. And it's just the things like you're going through, right? And Philippe had said it too. I had a crazy weekend. Those things, if you start to verbalize them or complain about them, you're creating an energy to them, and it will keep drawing that back into your reality. If you have a desired reality that you want to move into, and move isn't the right word either, but something that you want to create functionally in your outer world, you wouldn't be complaining about it in order to create it, right? So if you keep in mind that reality that you actually want, no matter what happens outside of you, right? So all the crazy things that go on, if you can keep in mind that reality that you actually want to create, you're not going to be complaining about anything. So writing down and go through and make a list of what it is you're trying to create. And when you hear yourself complaining on something that's happening outside of you, become aware of it and immediately come back to that whatever it is that you're trying to create. Did that make any sense? One of the things this guy said that kind of struck me.
Absolutely.
Oh, good, good. One of the things that this guy said that really struck me was that your complaints are literally an indication of your frequency or of your vibration. And I was like, oh, dang. They are, right? Anything you're complaining about, it is literally an indication. So you can kind of use it as a red flag. What
I'm
is
going to
your-
use it in the lessons.
Say it again.
I'm going to use it in the lessons. Thank you very much.
Oh,
That's a great
absolutely.
one.
Absolutely. I had something in my head and it disappeared and I can't get it back. Well, hopefully it'll come back in a minute. So whatever frequency you admit to the universe, or you, admit to the universe, it will be matched physically to a particular reality. Any frequency, any vibration that you put out there, that you submit, is going to be matched physically. So I want you to think about for a few seconds, even just go back through the day that we've just been through and see if you can literally count a few times that you complained about something. And if you're one of the few people that don't complain, I'm in awe of you. I bow down to you. I have tracked myself all day today, and so far I've got 3. And one of them was not small. One of them was like, I went on and then I was like, oh man, what am I doing? Come on. So try and count how many times you've complained. If you can remember what they are, contemplate them, because you will find answers in that contemplation as to why you're complaining about it. And then come back to the reality that you're really wanting to create. And contemplate that. The contrast will set you back on course pretty quickly. You literally, I mean, it's funny to try and think about it, but you can't want a particular reality if you're living a life of complaints. If you have a spouse that lives a life of complaints, if you have children that complain all the time, right? That vibration is very intrusive. I'm just reading some of the stuff I had written down, listening to this guy. When you complain, you literally take away all of your opportunity. You stop it cold and life becomes hard, right? In those moments, I watched my son do this weekend with what happened to him, and it's part of what I'm working on, his court deal to get it dismissed. But literally stopped all of his opportunity because of the direction his mouth went. So it'll only get you, your complaints will only get you to where you're going. Think about it for a second. Whatever you're complaining about will only get you to that thing. And you're literally, in those moments, singling out a particular frequency. You've moved yourself away from the scope of the overtone. That's what I call the frequencies of everything. The frequencies of the cosmos isn't one vibration. It isn't one frequency. It is an overtone of frequencies. And when you complain, you single out one, or you single out a subset of frequencies for those complaints, and you start creating from that place. In my world, what I've noticed is that highlighting subset frequencies like that tends to cause alarming disharmony and potential chaos ensues. And if you start to realize consciousness, so from people who complain to people who are trying to maintain a state of divinity, consciousness is actually contagious. And in fact, I think it can be infectious, both directions. If you listen to and actively engage with the complainer, even if it's yourself, that frequency is going to move your consciousness to wherever it goes. And your frequency always matches your reality. Your frequency always matches your reality. So the frequency of others can directly affect you if you're unaware. If you're aware, you can actually sit there and listen to them and just go, yeah, 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 okay, 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 and not have it affect you. But if you're unaware, we tend to absorb those frequencies. And I had asked this question, what if you're great at manifesting? What if you're great at manifesting? Like people are always griping about oh, my manifestation didn't come true. But it did, because whatever they manifested literally was their frequency. You manifest by frequency. If you don't think you're a good manifester, it's probably because you're allowing low-level frequencies and you're not seeing that you're creating your own reality. You can only have what you already have in terms of frequency. He was saying, the guy that was talking about this was literally saying, complainers live in a room of mirrors, and the complaint is literally just their reflection. They are only complaining about what they have created and what they're seeing in their life. And so a level of compassion from people who are trying to maintain their divinity becomes necessary. If I only see you as your light, no matter what you're complaining, I can stand there and listen to you all day long. And because of what I do, sometimes I will correct you if it's the right place or right time. But understanding that compassion can actually help you manage that. The ideal, and I really want you to write this down because it just made me go, you can't get anything from the universe that you don't already have. If you have negative frequencies and negative vibration, you're complaining and you're putting it back out there, you're recreating it. You're causing it, and you cannot get anything from the universe that you don't already have. If you're putting love into the system and joy into the system and trying to do the happiness thing and get that put that out, the system being the electromagnetic field, you're probably going to see more of it. Never accept, this was a key, this actually has been a key of mine for a long time. Never accept a complaint from the complainer. Don't ever accept it. Look into your own reality, kind of contemplate it, do whatever you have to do with it. Look at it if you have to, or just put it away if you don't need to, but don't ever accept it. And know that it's never yours. I thought this was interesting too. He talked about how manifestation is a defense, not an offense. So you have to be, in order to manifest, you almost have to be on the defense all the time of yourself, right? Making sure that you keep your level of frequency or vibration where you want it to be. I mean, literally, you have to defend yourself to the reality that you want, right? In the moment, I'm going to be right here with this all the time, all the time. I'm not going to let a person complaining about their situation or whatever they've created take me down their road with them. And that's hard if it's family. That can be a tough one. People play a limited set of frequencies. Most people play a very limited set of frequencies, making the people around them play to their frequencies. Don't ever do that. My son tried to do this to me the other day. It's a car issue we're having. And his car was impounded, but I got it out because I went and talked to the sheriff. I just went up and said, hey, dude, like, come on. Got it out of impound, and now he won't drive it because he's in fear that he's going to get it impounded again. And I'm just like, I can drive it and not be in fear of it, so I will drive it. You drive. He's like, no, it's not. You're going to have to just drive me to work. I was like, dude, I'm not letting your fear drag me down your hole. Does that make sense? Don't ever let somebody else's complaints or issues drag you down their hole. Any questions or thoughts about complainers or anything we just talked about? Any thoughts or questions?
I didn't get the part where you said that manifestation is a defense, not offense.
Yeah, it's literally like you're having to defend your own reality to what it is you're manifesting. So I like my son was the example.
I understand now. In my case, I have a very aggressive brother. He literally overwhelms my calmness and everything and impose his unease, hate, and all that things on me, and then I feel terrible.
Yeah. And some of that's just remaining coherent. It's maintaining your heart space and not taking on his, and being able to verbalize it. I mean, when I told my son, I'm not taking on your fear, I can drive your car. I'm not worried about it. Don't take on his anger or his hate or whatever it is. Don't allow your system to take it on. So let's stop right now real quick and let's actually get heart coherent. I meant to do that first and I forgot. So let's take those 3 big breaths. So big inhales. Nice long deep exhale. Take as long as you need to with this. When you inhale, literally try and feel the oxygen and energy and use your hands. Pull the oxygen and energy up to the top of your body. And when you exhale, I want you to feel it moving and circulating back down through your system. Literally trying to feel it. The inhale and the exhale. When you inhale again, coming all the way back up, expanding, really expand your belly, expand your diaphragm. Pelvic floor should drop. That's what's pulling the oxygen in. You should feel a rush of energy up your spine on the inhale. And then that nice, long, slow exhale. And just feel it circulating back through your body. We're going to do one more of those. Big inhale. All the way up. And then releasing and letting it spiral back down through your system, nice and slow. The slow exhale, the longer exhale, calms down the autonomic nervous system. So you're calming down the autonomic nervous system. Hand on your heart, and then I want you to drop your awareness into your heart space. And then just breathe normally. Allow yourself to fall into that space of peace or calmness, whatever you call it. And then we're going to just keep going, but I want you to stay coherent, stay in your heart space, let your heart connect to your brain. The second one, so the first one was complainers. The second one is realistic people. I live in a family of realistic people. My brothers and my father, very realistic. Be realistic. Realistic people are very proud of being realistic. Have you ever noticed that? To them, and probably to even other people, they seem to make sense. They seem to make sense. And because it seems to make sense, they get approval, and therefore their realism, right, it kind of takes a hold. But you have to understand that you don't see the world through your eyes. You see the world through frequency. We always look to see what's outside of us, and that's what they're calling realistic, is what they see. And I think it's why, and it is why, different people see different things through their scope of understanding and their scope of what they've seen. So if you take this into like a deeper level of understanding, what you see literally is a spectrum of color that's very small in comparison to the scope of color that's out there. What we see is literally what they, the number that they use is 0.0035% of reality. You see 0.0035% of reality. So meaning whatever's out here around us. That includes, because of the spectrum of color that we can see, and also what you can literally see, right? How far does your periphery go? And if you've never played in the periphery of your vision, I highly recommend it because there's some magic in the periphery. If you can walk, go take a walk around your area, around your block or whatever, around your city, and look forward, but see in the periphery. And try and take that walk while looking through your periphery. It will literally blow your mind because you see things that you would never be seeing otherwise. But
there are blind spots in eyes, in upper side on each corner of the eye, and the brain completes the image, although it doesn't see information on the blind spot.
Yep, and that's in the physical. That's what the spectrum that you can see. So follow me through this real quick. So you can only see a tiny portion of the electromagnetic spectrum or the electromagnetic field that's helping us see all of this stuff, right? Visible light is what allows you to see. We know how the eyes work through the process of refraction. That the light bounces off whatever it is you're looking at. It bounces off the surface and then enters your eye and into your brain and produces the picture based on what you think you see. So your reality of what you think you see is actually based on your perception and your understanding because of what you've gone through in the past. Good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter, right? It's not even about that. It's just that I've seen this before, right? I've seen this cup before, this glass before, and so I know it's a glass. But somebody else will walk into my house and say, why are you drinking out of a vase? And literally, in America, these are sold for wedding parties or to like florists as vases. This isn't sold as a drinking glass, but I use it as one because it's kind of what we had when I was a kid. And when I saw them, I was like, there's a nice big glass. I want those. And the lady was like, no, those are vases. Perception is king, right? What you think you see because of what you think you know. And it falls into that 0.0035%. So because you have lived your life, what you personally have gone through helps you create this understanding. But we only really see that 0.0035%. And this is what they tell you, so I don't know how true this is, of reality. And we think it's logical and it makes sense that what you see is reality. So realists, people who are, what did we call them? Realist people who are realists, literally make up their world, their little boxed in world, because of what they've seen. They won't go beyond that. And because it's what they see, they impress it on you to see the same thing, whether it is or it isn't, right? Or whether it can be used as something else, right? This is just a really good example. They're usually basing the potential that they can have and the possibilities that they could create on their seen reality, on that little spectrum of vision. And then a lot of times they literally try and press that on the people around them. And if you aren't open, if you aren't in a place where you can get coherent and stay there for any period of time, you'll start to think that what they are calling reality is truth. Now, we are seeing this all over the planet right now. People trying to impress their realities because it's what they see and what they get and what they, right, their perception has to be our reality too. And I just say you have to really fight that at this point. Don't fall into that stuff. So potential and possibility based on what they think they see. In reality, think about this. This one's huge. In reality, there is more unseen than seen. If there is only 0.0035%, and I don't know if I did this math right or not, that means that the other 99.9965% is more realistic. There's more realistic tendency there, possibility there, potential there than there is in what we can actually see. Does that make sense? They literally define their reality and yours based on what they can see, and then they teach that, or they impress that upon you from a government level all the way down. And it's literally a box of reality. That box of reality is what, in this plane of existence, in this 3D world, we would consider an illusion. So their reality is based on the illusion that they're looking at in this reality. And they create what is realistic from that. So when you are realistic, and I catch myself using this because I came from a home of realism, people. Came from that home. When you are realistic, you are limiting yourself. They limit you by trying it to impress it upon you. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to receive it. You can hear it. You can do something else. You don't have to be in their little box. But if you get rid, and I hear myself go, well, in reality, and whose reality and what reality? When you are realistic, or you're trying to be realistic, you are limiting yourself. Does that make sense?
It does. If I may try to summarize it, realistic people are people who try to live by the rules of the illusion, but they are not completely honest in their research or living. Therefore, they do not look close enough to see that rules of the illusions are not as fixed as they think and talk to others they are. So their main drive is pride.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. And I think when you get it, right, the idea of being realistic based on what you see, the unseen is the key. The scope of what we don't see that's around us is huge. And if you participate from your heart space, you will start to engage in that world. I start to create from the unseen. You start to hear from the unseen. You start to see the unseen. I mean, it can get pretty interesting, but that world that we don't see. You know, I have a brother that only sees what's right in front of him. Bless his heart. And I'm always looking around going, well, what else is there? Because I don't like what you see in front of you. So I'm going to go this way. And he'll be yelling at me, no, this is all that's here. Let's just go. No, you go. I'm going that way.
I know a few realistic people, and I always felt pretty dead in there, sort of like this was like lifeless. If I spent time with them, actually. And
Yeah,
now I
very,
understand.
very limiting. Yeah.
So limiting. So all I ever think is ha 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 and ho ho ho, and yeah, but it was just there was only one way of being for them, you know. It's yeah. I was never really so happy in the company of realists.
No, it's a rough sell. It is a rough
Yep.
sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the third one, we'll move on to the third one. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts or ideas or want to contribute about realists? Don't be one. Don't be a realist. Live in the outside world, not this outside world, but I should say unseen. Live in the unseen world. Way more fun.
So I would say confirmation bias as well. The realists are looking for a confirmation bias. They want to prove their point. So it's not even a thing of like, this is my point of view. It's they have to prove it to you, and they will, that type of energy of forceful dominance because my family too is like that, and I'm laughing this entire time. It's not something that they will just let you walk away from. So it is literally a poison that you have to realize they will do everything and anything that they can to try and convince you of their quote unquote reality. That it's you have to cut ties or walk away or just not even go there, because it will never end.
No. I mean, and look at our government.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the people trying to impress their reality on us by making us use their pronouns or whatever. I mean, and that's just a little piece of it, but holy cow, like, dude, no. I am not joining you in your reality. Philip just put, faith is to believe what you do not see. There's actually a verse that says that somewhere. St. Augustine, that's it. The reward of the faith is to see what you believe. Oh, no, it's totally related, right? Because if you believe the unseen, if you believe what it is that you have faith in, that you're trying to create, that you want to see, oh my God, that's it in a nutshell, right? Don't believe any of this. Believe what it is you're wanting to create, because that's what'll start to come through. All right. So, I mean, even with that one, go through your list real quick, your mental list, and look at all the people around you that participate in the realistic kind of viewpoint. And here's why we want to point them out, because if you can point them out, you can start to, I'm going to use the words, protect yourself from it a little bit better, because this is literally poison. And coming into we are in the age, we're not coming into it anymore. In the age that we are in order to stay in your divinity or get deeper, become more your natural divinity self, is that words? You have to mitigate the damage from these kind of thought processes and these kind of people. And I totally agree with Shamina. Sometimes you have to literally just get them out of your life. So number 3 is fear mongers. Fear is dangerous anyway. It's a dangerous energy to allow yourself into. It can suck you in and hold on to you for lifetimes. Fear is a horrible energy to allow into your, or to focus on in your system. But fear mongers are the people who are out there projecting the fear, right? And on YouTube, I don't know, a lot of the truthers in our community, they call themselves truthers, are just fear mongers. Like, they're always telling you about the bad stuff that's about to happen, the bad stuff that did happen, the bad stuff that, you know, so and so, this person caused it and this happened, and it's always the bad stuff, and it is just dangerous to participate in it. Fear itself is a very powerful attractor field. And if you look at fear, it literally disguises itself a lot of times as light, which is what we're all striving for, is right, our highest self, our light. Fear acts as a beam or a beacon of light, and what you don't want the most will come and find you every single time. Whatever it is you are in fear to, because it is such a powerful magnet, it will pull that thing to you lickety split. And in this period of time, it's happening even faster. And it seems to always be the thing that you fear the most, right, Shen? That's exactly what happened to my son the other day. The thing that he feared the most is exactly what happened. So understand, realize, and you probably all know this, that fear is the language of the brain. Emotion is the language of the brain, of your mind. Fear is so powerful by itself as an attractor, as a magnet, as that light, that when you feel it or think it in your mind, think the thing that causes the feeling of fear, you will automatically, your brain will start to automatically believe that it's already happened. That's how powerful the emotion of fear can be. It's why the people who run this place, or the entities, whatever they are, that run this planet, that have control of this planet right now, use fear. It's exactly why they do what they do, right? When America was kind of getting its feet underneath it and really feeling good about itself, they took those towers down in New York City. Our government did that. We know they did. A lot of us know they did. And it was literally just a fear thing. How fast, and I think it was a game they were playing to see how fast they could bring the people back to their knees. And yelling for help, yelling for protection, afraid to leave the country, afraid to get on an airplane, afraid to, and then they implemented all kinds of stuff around us in order to keep us in that fear, right? To keep resubmitting it over and over into the system. And remember, right, just like with the other things we were just talking about, you can only have what you already have. If you bow down to fear, if you bow down to that emotion and let it consume you, even if it's just for a short period of time, you can only have what you already have. It will keep coming back until you get in your heart and sit there long enough that peace takes over. Peace is literally stronger than fear. That's why they don't want you to know how to get into your heart. That's why this is, I call it a hidden technology. It's a hidden physiological technology you have in your system if you choose to engage it. Peace is so powerful that when it takes over, it is literally unshakable. And what do they call it? The peace that passes all understanding. It literally will make no sense how much control you can take of your system when you stay in peace. But when you stay in fear, it will feel like the same kind of control. Instead of you being in control, the fear, it's almost like it has its own spirit. So the energy of fear is very powerful. Fear mongers, I can point at a few in our community, are very addicted to their fear, right? These people, I'm trying to think of this one guy's name, calls himself the Health Ranger. He didn't used to do this until COVID happened. And then all of a sudden he went on a rampage and became this huge fear monger. Mike Adams, bless his heart. I used to love listening to him talk. Now I can't stand it. And if you think about all the things that are going on in the world right now, they're literally based on fear. The majority of people are trying to find solace on one side or the other of the fear card. And on either side, the fear projections are so huge. And it's literally like, how many people can you get to buy in that you can either fix their fear by doing something different for them, or the other side? I mean, if you're paying any attention in America, it's just ridiculous, the level of fear that they're throwing out. Kamala Harris, our acting, I heard somebody call her President Harris the other day. I was like, hey, my president, like, step, get out of here. She literally said that when Biden was in office, he was working on taking down our Constitution. And most people think they have constitutional rights. And he was literally working on getting rid of it. And I had never heard anybody say that before, but she said it out loud the other day. And so she's continuing that work. And I can only think, so like I'm watching people around me, this group that was talking about this, and the level of fear went, and I'm just sitting back going, okay, doing my breath work, get into my heart. And I'm just like watching, I'm just observing it going, oh no, don't do this to yourself. The things that they have control over because of fear, think about it for a second. Illness, the banking situations, the banking failures that are occurring around the globe, the government takeovers, right? Those are pretty obvious. The food supply, the air, unfortunately, even that too. Like, it's just mind-boggling. But if you stay in peace, you actually gain a level of control back over those things. A huge level. It's not even a small level. It's a huge level. We talk a lot about, in some of the circles I'm in, they talk a lot about the end times. The end times are only about being in fear all the time. If they can keep you locked in that fear, they can guide you right through their scenario of the end times. So on the brain end of it, fear basically is lodged in the basal ganglia, which would be like the most internal part of the brain, the reptilian brain. It's a part that we probably use the most because of fear. But if you're not in fear, you use it the least. It is the most primal part of your brain. It throws you into survival mode that fast. And if you stay in fight and flight in survival mode, you will start to cause your own sets of illnesses and start to make up stories to all kinds of stuff that will start, it doesn't even start. It has a vibration, it has a frequency, and you will start to create your outer world by that. Your highest levels of thinking. So literally the high functioning parts of the brain. So the frontal lobe, right, your higher executive function skills literally get shut off when you are in the reptilian brain. When you're in fear, it's hard to work your way out of it because, right, and I bypass it with people. I've been doing this for years with people. Bypass the fear just by going and sitting in your heart. Let peace take over. Be there, be there, be there. And all of a sudden the fear just kind of goes away. You can't physically do both at the same time. Physically, it's impossible. Can't be in fear and in peace at the same time, which is why they push the fear narrative. Fear mongers, again, just like the realism people, fear mongers want you in a box. And the box is only so big and it only contains 0.0035% of reality. They want you in that survival mode because if you're in that mode, they have total control, which is what, I don't know about any other country in the world, but it's definitely what's happened in America probably over the last 50 to 80 years. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about fear. If you think of it as a frequency alone, that frequency of fear requires that somebody saves you. And I hate to say it, but it's how religion works. They put you in fear, heaven or hell. You're probably going to go to hell because you're a sinner. And then you need saved. The governments, same idea. They're causing all this mayhem around us and we're sitting here watching it going, wow, okay. But then the idea is that we will turn back to the government because we need saved. We need somebody to give us a handout. In America, that's how it works. You need a handout, you need something, you go to the government to get it. And as long as you need saving, this is a kicker here, as long as you need saving, your spirit, that part within you, will stay asleep. The moment you don't need saved, you've stepped out of that fear realm, and all of a sudden there's like this wake up going on. That part of you all of a sudden starts to become alive. Yeah, hello? And you can feel it. You know the difference because we've walked in and out of it our whole life. So you totally know the difference in this. So to wake up your spirit, it requires the frequencies of the cosmos, and that is the overtone that I was talking about. We'll go into that in more depth next week. It's not a subset of frequencies. The rest of this stuff is all a subset of frequencies that these people are focusing on and trying to lure you into. But we don't want to lock ourselves out of our higher selves, right? We want to be in that space all the time. I want you to think through, just like we did the other two, where are the fear mongers in your life coming from? Who are they? Can you pinpoint them? Can you look at it? And even if it's sources outside of your little realm of family or whatever the bubble is that you typically live in, all the fear mongers that I know that I listen to are online somewhere. They're the truthers in the truther community that is getting harder and harder to decide, okay, which side are you on? It's getting really super strange. So remember, the beacon of light of fear sends out a signal. Whatever you're most afraid of will come back to you. So move out of the fear of frequency. The fear of frequency, the frequency of fear. And literally just by being in your peace, be in your heart space. I think the necessity of knowing how to navigate the world, because these people are everywhere and they're getting more predominant, they're getting more vocal, like really more vocal. So knowing how to navigate the world around them becomes super important. One of the things I've taught it for years, and you guys have probably heard it all over the place for years, is being able to program yourself. Being able to unprogram the program that they gave us and program yourself to whatever it is that you're trying to create in this existence, in this iteration. You have to program yourself or you will be programmed. Brainwash yourself or you will be brainwashed. Right? And there's all kinds of ways you can do this. And we can go into some more of that later if you want to. But whatever methods you have, whatever ideas you have about it, I would be hitting them hard. Work those systems that you know how to use the best. If you don't control your reality, if it's not already controlled, it's about to be, because they are coming after us hard. I tend to tune my frequency towards the cosmos and that huge overtone of frequencies. It's the rainbow effect that I understood. I knew it before, but I understood it really well after I died. And that's what we're definitely going to go into next week. But any thoughts or questions on any of this stuff?
Well, I agree completely. In my mind, fearmongers are among most evil people in the world.
I would agree.
When I remember just all that terror during pandemic, all those news media people spreading lies just to get views and reactions and spreading panic, and all those so-called experts spreading nonsense theories as science without any proof.
So
And it got me so mad because I was expert in propaganda. I knew
wow.
bullshit the first moment they pronounced that thing, but
Wow.
the fear, I didn't know how fear is the powerful force till then. But now when I look at it, I always think of myself as bad manifestor, but I manifested all my worst fears now when I look at it.
Yep. Yeah, me too, for years. 4 years. Yeah. Program yourself to do what you want to do. I mean, even through all this nonsense, right? You have to walk in your peace. Yeah, and if you're tuned to the right frequency, if you're tuned to the frequency of the cosmos, you can't touch this. It's hard to shake me. Even the stuff my son just went through with these cops here in our town, well, you can't shake this. It's very hard to. We're going to go over real quick and just kind of play. Oh, go ahead.
What about this global consciousness? Because if like negative percent, if negative percent of people are thinking the same and doing the same, it has an effect on the world. Huh? So how do we keep in our vibration?
It takes us, how do you keep in your vibration is a good question. I will say to you before I answer that, it takes a lower percentage of people in peace to affect the world than it does people in fear and people, right, causing all their nonsense. It takes less of us to change the world than it does of them. We just weren't awake. We weren't paying attention. We were going about our day, doing our thing, and right, I was one of them at one point. I can't even lie about it. I was totally one of them at one point. I was a complainer. I was in fear. I don't know that I was a fear monger, but I was definitely in fear. I let fear guide my life. And I would play the realism game. Well, it's right here in front of you. How can you not see it? But I wasn't looking at any of the stuff I couldn't see.
Well, I think maybe, I don't know, maybe you had to experience that to know what you're talking about, because you can read it from books, but you have to have experience.
Yeah, I think so. And it takes less of us to change their experience. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. And it's good to know.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, good. I was trying to remember what exactly you asked, and I was like, oh no. Yeah, I think on the level of global consciousness, that whole idea, it starts inside of a single individual, and we're all connected somehow. The thing that I keep understanding, and I don't know really how to speak to it totally, is that we are not all the same. The human species is more than what we have been. Like everything else, it's a lie, right? In the bird world, birds are birds, they're all birds, but there are many different birds. They don't all work the same way. Some of them can fly, some of them can't, right? Some of them eat meat, some of them eat vegetation. It just depends on the type of bird. I think within the human species, and I'm dead serious when I say this, there are different kinds of us, and we are not all the same. There are people on this planet that will never see the light. They will never go into their heart space because they can't, because they don't have that aspect of the humanity that we have. Does that make sense? There are people on this planet that here in this country, and I don't know about anywhere else, they're calling NPCs. And it's a term that comes from the gaming world where the kids are on the computer playing the games that they play. And an NPC is a non-character player. It's a soulless avatar in the world of the game that wanders around just filling space. And
Who put them here?
Say again?
Who put them here?
Whoever
Who put
runs
these
this
NPTs?
place. Yeah,
Who put
whoever
these
runs this place. And there's
Uh-huh.
more of them than there is us. We just don't know that they're,
Yes.
yeah. They literally don't have souls. They don't care because they can't. And if you get angry at them, you're wasting energy on something that you, and they're just here playing the game. They're just like in the game because they were put here. I saw this in a Costco. We have stores in America called Costco that you have to have a card. It's a membership where you have to go, you have to have the card to get into the store kind of thing. And the prices are super good, so it's worthy getting the card to go shop at this place. But they have huge aisles, like bigger aisles than any other store you'll ever go into because it's like a warehouse. And there's places in the warehouse where like 5 or 6 different intersections, like you'll come out of an aisle into this big open space. And I walked out into, I had my cart in front, and the carts are huge too, right? Everything is huge. I walked out into the middle of one of these spaces, or towards the middle of one of these spaces one day, and there were literally all these people from all these different aisles walking into this space and like met head to head. And then more people backed up behind him, and me and this other guy were coming into it, and I just stopped. I was like, what is going on? And they're just like literally bumping their carts into each other and starting to yell at each other. And I was just like, what the heck is this? And the guy looked over at me because and I was talking out loud. He looked over at me and just started laughing. He's like, they're all NPCs. I was like, oh my gosh. Like none of them had enough sense to back out or turn around or be like, okay, let me, squeeze out of here. They just kept piling into each other. And I'm looking at the dude, and he's like, I'm going away. And we both took off a different way together. And I was just like, holy crap. He's the one that kind of explained the whole NPC idea to me.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
It's crazy. I've seen it on the highway. And now that he's like pointed it out, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And you just, Grandmaster Wolf's advice, stay away from it. Don't walk into it. Because it's part of I literally think it's part of like, this is reality, right? They complain about everything. They don't have any good thing to say. And they're total fear mongers. They cause fear before they cause anything else. I'm just like, what? What on earth? All right. So know that those are here, that we are not all the same, that people, even other people who do have souls, some of them they don't view it from the place we view it from. They just don't. They never will, because it's not in their nature. And it's hard to accept. It's hard to look at and go, really? Like we were talking, somebody had said before about, oh, it's just a decision. You have to, their decision does not match our decision. It never will. It's not the direction they're going. It's not the direction they want to go. And it is very strange, but I think it's just part of this reality. And it's part of the truth that's actually starting to emerge, and we're really starting to see it in real life.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Any questions, thoughts? Trying to break this down a little bit so you guys have time to feed back into it if you need to. It's a lot of information.
I'm just trying to take it all in.
Likewise, I still try to understand the absurdity of all that evil. Why,
Yeah.
why that even exists?
Don't try and understand it. When it's time, like spirit will definitely give you and you'll be like, oh, but I wouldn't put energy into it. Just know it's there and stay away from it. It's like fear mongers. If you try and understand a fear monger, you waste so much energy and time.
And it's so boring to listen to them. Sorry, I have to say this, but it is.
Yeah.
It's just so draining and boring. It's like, oh God, it's really, I love where I live, and I love my life, and I love what I'm creating for my work. But there's a lot of NPCs here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them in Holland. Well, Holland is really like, it's just an amazing place for that. But it is amazing there are, I know people that are waking up and are awake. So I feel very grateful. But yeah, the NPC level is great here.
Yeah, it is everywhere. I literally heard, and I wish I could remember who it was, say the other day, that for every one person with a soul, there's 5 NPCs.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know how you got that math or how you came up with that, but holy cow. He goes, look around you. Just disembody. I mean, they're walking around doing the game, but they have no, I don't know. And then on the other end of it, my question back to him was, if that's true, then how many, like there's us that are obviously from the light, right? We come from a different source. How many of the ones that come from the evil source are on this planet, walking around looking like us? He didn't have an answer for that. Let's cruise on. Do you have anything, Jane? Anything else?
Well, yes and no. I can talk about this for quite a while, but then we won't have time for the rest. So
Yeah, we could go on about this forever for sure.
Yeah. There's so many different avenues to go down here now, which we can discuss. But yeah, we know it. So I'd rather listen to you.
Well, we'll come back another time and just do like questions and go back and forth, because I love hearing you guys' thoughts and even your experiences on some of this stuff, because I don't know, it's hard to find people to talk to at all sometimes. So it's nice.
Exactly. I agree. It's hard to find people sometimes.
Yeah. So the last part of this, what we're going to play with, I don't even know what time it is. Are we like way over time? Oh, good Lord. Okay. We'll do this a little bit quicker than I had planned on. I was listening to Tony Robbins, if you know who he is. He's been an American guru for a long time. And I don't typically listen to him, but something popped up and I was like, so I sat there watching a little blip on some channel. I don't even know what I was on. But he was talking about affirmations versus incantations. That's what caught my eye, that was the title, affirmations versus incantation. So an affirmation is kind of the idea, right, that this says happy. It probably looks backwards on the screen. And you sit there going, I am happy, I am happy. That's why I have this. I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. I didn't know what happiness felt like. I couldn't feel happiness if I wanted to. Can now, couldn't then. But affirmation, right? So we've all done affirmations. We get that idea. He goes, worthless, don't do that. I've said that before myself. Affirmations are just like a hollow well. He goes, incantations, on the other hand, are a little bit different. Because with an incantation, you have the spoken word, and then you also have to embody it. Whatever the spoken word you're using, you have to embody it with the fullest of intensity that you can muster. The fullest of intensity, right? Which is what I'm bad at, which is what I'm practicing. My intensity, I'm practicing that. And there's a lady that has these books. I think her name is Florence Shen Chauvel, from like old, I think 1940s. And she does these little sayings, and he actually repeated something similar, and I'm going to repeat it to you, and I'll say it slowly if you want to write it down. But when he was saying it with so much intention and so much like hand motions and like feelings and emphasis. And he goes, that's how you literally have to say it to turn it into a thing. Because it involves your spirit. It involves the depths of you, right? That part shakes when you start invoking the deep emotions of spirit to involve in your affirmation, which now we're going to call an incantation. It is the way that people who do black magic do black magic. They don't just say the thing. There's rituals and like sage burning and like all the stuff, right? The biggest part of it is their intensity. It is the intensity that they pour emotion into whatever it is they're intending. It works both ways. It works both ways. And people who talk about this stuff a lot of times will say things like, it's why we don't talk about it, because if an evil person or a person who, intends harm understands it, they'll use it. They use it already. We don't know about it because nobody ever said it. I'm just like, seriously. And I've heard this before. It's all the intent, but I never heard it called an incantation. And it's the same idea what Spirit had told me, that the I am that I am, the phrase that Yahweh gave Moses, a Yah, Ashura Yah, that was an incantation to open the cosmos, the energy of the cosmos, to work in your favor. I am that I am, the way it was translated, we got I am that I am, but it means so much more than that. But if you say a Yah, Ashura Yah with intensity, and I can only imagine that Yahweh did, all of a sudden the floodgates just open. What Tony Robbins had said, the little phrase that he used, because he turned himself, I think he said he was 17. At 17 years old, I mean, he had a pretty rough life in his onset. He was making at 17 like 35 grand a year, which isn't that bad. It's not horrible. But he said by the end of the year, he was making over $1 million because he used this phrase with such fervent intensity over and over. And it was his only thought. It was the thing that he let ruminate in his head. Any other thought had to be dismissed, and he would come back to that thought, and then the feeling had to come through it. When you are doing stuff like that, you are literally accessing the potent emotions of your spirit versus your physical, whatever you were taught an emotion was, right? We all have different ideas of happiness. We all have different ideas of love. In the spirit form, those emotions are way more potent, and they don't always mean what we have been taught, because you are that thing. It's not something you do. You are love, you don't do love. You are joy, you don't create joy. You are peace. You don't cause a war in order to find peace. Yeah. So here's what he said. Here's his statement. Immense wealth circulates in my life. Immense wealth circulates in my life. Immense wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. And if you ever read Florence Scovel Shinn's work, these are exactly the kind of words she uses. So there was those two lines: immense wealth circulates in my life, immense wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals come to me easily and instantly by infinite intelligence. And then he said, for I am one with God, and God is everything. Now, I don't tend to like the word God just because I know where it came from and I know. So I substituted, for I am one with the cosmos, and the energy of the cosmos is everything. Put whatever words work for you. I have not had a good time with God my whole existence. So I substituted the cosmos.
Can you repeat them again?
Yes, starting from the top. Wealth, oh, I'm sorry, immense wealth circulates in my life. Immense wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals come to me easily and instantly by infinite intelligence. For I am one with the cosmos, he said, with God. The energy of the cosmos is everything. The energy of God is everything. Use whatever words there you want. Do you want me to say it one more time?
Please.
Immense wealth circulates in my life. Immense wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals come to me easily and instantly by infinite intelligence. For I am one with the cosmos. The energy of the cosmos is everything. Did you get it that time? And then he said, imagine the abundance that you're looking for in your life, whatever that means, right? Whatever abundance you're looking for. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Philip. Whatever abundance you're looking for, you're going to see it in your mind's eye, right? So imagine it. And then go into your heart space and feel gratitude. Gratitude is, from a spirit standpoint, the energy of completion. Gratitude is the energy of completion. So you say this, imagine in all of the intensity that you can, imagine the abundance, imagine whatever it is you're looking for in your life, and then feel gratitude. I would alter it a little bit and say, get into gratitude first. Get coherent first. So take a deep breath, drop yourself back into your heart. If you've navigated out, get back into that space and feel your gratitude. Your spirit is gratitude. It's not something you have to give or get something from in order to feel gratitude. Spirit has that attribute. It is gratitude. It's part of what you are, not something you do. Get into your gratitude state. And then this is kind of what he looked like. So if you have it written down, do this with me. This is literally what he was doing. Hands out, right? We're moving energy through the palms of our hands. These are all energy receptors and transmitters, fingertips and the palms of your hands both. So he said, immense wealth circulates in my life.
Yes, well, it circulates in my life.
Immense wealth flows
Immense
to me
wealth
in
flows to me.
avalanches of abundance. Feel it. Feel the avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals come to me easily and instantly by infinite intelligence. For I am one with the cosmos. I am one with the cosmos. The energy of the cosmos is everything. Feel your gratitude. Envision, imagine, see the abundance that you want to see.
This was wonderful, Christy.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
So I want everybody to turn their microphones on. I only heard Philip on that last one, and then I think he stopped. And we're going to all do this together. Turn on your microphones. Shamina might be driving. I'm not sure if she can turn hers on or not. They're like, nope, we're not turning our microphones on. All right, you guys. I know where you live. I know where both of you.
I have it on, Christy, but I have to go. So I mean, I could try to do it real fast, but I have to sign off.
Okay, let's do it real quick and
Okay.
then sign off whenever you need to, but let's do it real quick.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Ready?
Immense wealth
Immense wealth
circulates in my
circulate
life.
in my life.
Immense
Immense
wealth
Wealth flows to me
Flows to me
in
in
avalanches of abundance.
All
All my
needs,
needs,
desires,
desires, and goals come
come
to
to
me
me
easily
easily
and instantly by
by an
infinite
infinite
intelligence. For
For
I'm
I
one
am
with the
one with
cosmos,
the cosmos.
and
And
energy of
energy
the cosmos is
Cosmos is
everything.
everything.
How wonderfully synchronized are we?
My dog was out there. Amazing. Oh my goodness. And then feel it, right? Feel the gratitude. Go deep into the gratitude. Imagine. See
I'm very
abundance.
grateful. This was very amusing.
I want you to play with this idea, even if you come up with your own phrase. Feel it. Get really into it, right? What it was there, the intensity.
Christy, everybody, I want to say thank you. I'm going to miss next week because it's my birthday and I have to pick up my son from the airport as long as he finds his cell phone in the desert out in at Burning Man. And then hopefully, I'll just listen to the recording because it's going to be a good one next week. And hopefully I'll have a voice after that. I have surgery and hopefully, I'll just sit in and listen to the following one.
All right, we'll hold you in our hearts
Okay.
through the surgery.
Sending love to everybody.
All right, back at you.
Love to you too.
Thank you. All right, any questions, thoughts, or ideas on any of that stuff? We'll be done in about 5 minutes. Okay.
It was amazing. It is amazing. Thank you.
Very welcome. Very welcome. All I can say is play with it. We have to start playing with the energy just to see what it'll do. And if you do it in the right frequencies, right, the vibrate, right's not even a right word. All of the intensity that you can muster, not complaining, not fear mongering, not whatever the other one was, the realism. See this, see everything unseen around you and feel the intensity, because every possibility is open right now in this time period. So many possibilities are opening up. It's amazing to me what could actually happen if we allow it to happen. All right, with that, we will call this one done. We'll call that a wrap. And next week we're doing opening up all the chakras in the rainbow spectrum. And yeah, we'll see where that goes. See you next week.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you for
Thank you
being here,
very much.
everybody. Sure. All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. See
Bye-bye.
you next week.